There is so much that is not spoken about when it comes to balancing motherhood and ambition.
I watched her silently become a single mother, but it was like survival, it was determination, it was grit, but it was ambition. I quite often enjoy going to work more than I do a day with my kids. And that is harsh, and some people will turn off this podcast right now.
Be like, how dare she?
That had to be perfect. I had to unlearn that perfect meant good.
Yeah.
Unperfect, imperfect, messy, also means good.
What would you say is the cost of ambition that no one told you about?
Loneliness.
Yeah.
These double standards, they run deep, Jess.
They really do.
They do
Can
run
we talk
deep.
about it? Welcome to No One Told Me This, the podcast where we unpack what it really means to be a woman in leadership. The ambition, the identity crises, the cultural tensions, the glass ceilings, and those that we build ourselves. My name is Jess. I'm your host, a certified leadership coach, and your honest big sister in the boardroom. This is not the stuff you find in the handbooks. This is the stuff that no one told us that we're saying out loud. So let's get into it. There is so much that is not spoken about when it comes to balancing motherhood and ambition. And today we are going to talk about the reality. It's the messy middle. It's the part where we're figuring it all out and we're making it up as we go along, and we're trying our best to do our very best in both arenas. And today's guest is not only a mother of 3 boys, yes, 3 boys, but it also owns her own consultancy business in the learning and development space, both from the UK and across the UAE. So I'm really excited to have her join us today. And welcome to the pod, Ruth Dance.
Thank you, Jess.
Hi.
Thanks for asking me to come and be loud about this messy middle of motherhood and ambition. I'm so excited about this conversation.
It is like so near and dear to my heart, and I've been looking forward to our conversation. Like, we booked it ages ago, and it's like good that it's like finally came up. But what's interesting is that we connected based off of us being mothers, moving over to Dubai. I like filmed some random videos on YouTube to like tell people about like all the things you need to think about. At the time when I was moving here, there were so many videos that were just single people moving to Dubai. And I was like, I need the context of being a parent and the stuff that we need to think about in schools and areas for families. So I decided to make these videos. And lo and behold, we kind of connected on a mum's Facebook group. And then I kind of sent the videos, and then we kind of connected from there, which is like really cool. So it's been like over a year now, right?
Yeah, it has been over a year. So we definitely connected on being mums.
Yeah.
Being mums of boys.
Yeah, being mums of boys.
And that transition of relocating not ourselves, but also our ambitions and also our kids, and then realized we connected on this kind of business level, and we had like real passions around leadership as well. So I can't believe I'm now in a podcast studio with you. It's amazing.
I mean, I can't believe we even have a podcast stage. That wasn't even in my plans when I was like moving my ambitions over here. But I think it would be a good place to start to find out who you are. So beyond your LinkedIn bio, who is Ruth Dance?
Ruth Dance. Dance, I say dance. Some people say dance. Depending on...
That sounds like an accent. That sounds like a northern accent.
So I am Ruth Dance. I say dance. And the accent comes from, I was born in one of the smallest cities in the world, a population of, I think at the time, less than 3,000 people in North Wales. Okay. So some people here in the GCC have never heard of Wales. It's a country that sits just on the side, but it's part of the UK. Yeah. So I'm British, but I'm Welsh. So that's where the accent comes from. So I come from a really, really small place where I guess ambition was not something that you saw a lot of or that you were influenced by a lot of. As you already said, I'm a mum of 3 very energetic young boys. So they keep me on my toes as well. And who am I and what do I care about deeply? I care so deeply about happiness, whether that's my own happiness, whether that's my children's, my family, but also happiness at work, right? Yeah. So we spend 80% of our waking lives, when we're awake, in a work-related activity.
That's crazy.
Right? Whether that's getting ready for work, talking about work, traveling to work, being at work. So I care deeply about the happiness that people have when they're at work as well. So that's me behind my LinkedIn bio.
Yeah. Well, do you know what's so funny? Every single conversation I've had so far with every woman, happiness comes up.
Wow.
And it's actually, I didn't see that coming.
No.
Because I don't know. It's just not something that's put at the forefront of what we should be pursuing. You know, like in our conditioning, we're not told to go after happiness. We're kind of told to go after, I don't know, family and
money.
Yeah. In more modern day, definitely money, career, goals, dreams. So every time women talk about happiness, people are going to see me saying this like over and over again, but it makes me so happy because this has now become a focus of like our lives.
Yeah.
Do you feel like you started focusing more on happiness when you became a mother?
Yeah. Yeah, it became more of a priority.
Yeah.
And maybe that comes a little bit into self-care. Maybe that comes a little bit into being now responsible for 3 other people's happiness as well, and shaping the decisions that they make. Also when I became a leader as well, similar to being a mother, you're then responsible, or you feel like you're responsible for the happiness that other people have at work.
It's true.
So I think both of those life events, like transitioning into a leadership role and becoming a mother, as I felt more responsibility, happiness became even more important for me. Which I'd never thought about before. So
because it's a really interesting point, because obviously you've brought it up, like as a leader, it's equally important, because if you're not happy, you kind of impact your team with your unhappiness, and then they just don't enjoy like the working environment as much. And it's really the same with being a mother, right? If you're not in a good place, like the self-care and like what you're saying, then that's not the impact that you're having on your kids as well, which is,
exactly.
It's a big responsibility.
Huge.
No pressure.
It's
no
huge.
Pressure.
It's huge, but it's free. So I think you can feel the pressure as a mother to have a certain amount of money to buy things for your kids, or you can feel the pressure as a leader to do certain things for your team that might cost time or might cost money. But actually, when you view it that you're responsible for other people's happiness and your own, that's something that comes from within. That's not something that you go and buy. That's a mindset thing. So when you think about it like that, you can have a huge impact on the world and it doesn't cost anything. So,
it's very true. But it takes you to do the work within, which is, it's a brave thing to do as well. So if your younger self could see you now, what do you think would surprise her most, the motherhood part or the ambition part?
I can't choose between the two. Honestly, I think if how young, like 20 years ago, right?
Okay.
20 years ago, I was 20. I guess I'm at that kind of, now I'm 40. But 20 years ago, I was 20 and I was told it was very unlikely that I was ever going to be able to have children. So to look at me now and be like, I've been blessed with 3 kids, including a set of twins. I just don't think I would have believed it. I think that really, really would shock 20-year-old Ruth. But also the ambition piece as well. Again, at 20 years old, if someone had said to me, by the age of 40, you will be living 3,500 miles away from home in the desert. I grew up in the mountains where it rains every day. And you will be leading teams, running your business. That would have really, really shocked me as well. So I think both the ambitious side of me and the motherhood side of me, I didn't see either of them coming. So
yeah, that's amazing to hear, by the way. I mean, I feel like I want to say congratulations, but that's weird, isn't it? Because I mean, when you like have this crossroads of like being a mother, and I think another thing that no one talks about is it's not as straightforward having children. I always thought it was just really straightforward. I don't know if it's just me. I literally just thought you just like get pregnant and you have kids. I didn't know until the actual process that, oh, actually this takes work. This is hard. There are other obstacles. And actually this is really common. But no one really talks about it. So then you start thinking, oh my God, what's wrong with me?
So I was told at 20 that it was going to be very unlikely. But then I was young and it was not my priority at that moment. It was to have a kid. And then And then I was blessed with my firstborn. He's nearly 10. So when I was blessed with him, it was a fairly straight road. The birth was horrific. The circumstances in the first few months of his life were difficult, but it was a fairly straight road in terms of pregnancy. What I didn't see coming was that secondary infertility and multiple miscarriages and then twins. I also didn't see that coming either, which comes with its own shock and challenges and continues to have challenges, So, but I didn't know that. No one talks about it. No one says, by the way, most pregnancies will end in a miscarriage. Like, no one says to you, like, by the way, just because you had your firstborn doesn't mean it'll happen like that second time round.
Yes.
Like, it's just not talked about.
It is not talked about. And it sounds weird to say I don't know why, because I do. People obviously want to give the impression of like, having it all together, there's nothing wrong with me, there's nothing wrong with us, we're just taking our time or whatever it might be. But I think the more people are vocal about this, the more it can help other women to actually know how common it is. I literally had 3 miscarriages before my first.
Wow.
So I actually had it the other way around where I was like, can I ever even do this?
Yeah.
Like, or why is my body not working with me? Why is this not happening? There's no history of it in my family. I don't know like what's going on. And that journey was just a lot more complicated. And then we were blessed with my first. And then within 8 months, I was blessed with my second. And shock, because then I was terrified. I was like, wait, but I haven't even caught my breath from my first one. I didn't even know my body's supposed to be doing this so quickly after, and all of these fears. But again, there's so many stories like this that I just wish more women spoke about, so we didn't feel so isolated in it.
Yeah, and we're talking about it now, and we're talking about it publicly, right? But when I was going through it, and maybe for you the same, Jess, I was so lonely.
Yeah, incredibly.
I didn't feel like there was anyone, there was no podcast where a woman openly said, I've had miscarriages. Yeah. There was no one in my friendship circles. So I made it my mission, actually, once I'd dealt with the grief and the trauma and worked on the kind of inner peace I needed to find within that. I made it my mission to talk quite publicly, which can be uncomfortable for people at times. But as a result of that, when other women are going through it, they have found me on Instagram or LinkedIn and say, thanks for talking publicly about this. Yeah. I'm going through it. Can I talk to you?
That's amazing.
So that's what we need to be doing not just in fertility, but in all our journeys as women. Just maybe stop putting on such this like facade and just be so much more open about our journeys.
I think when it comes to this and like, let's say pregnancy difficulties and, I think some of it is that it doesn't just feel like our secret.
Yeah.
Like it feels like it's us and our partner.
Yeah.
Or then us and our families. And, some cultures are very protective over, don't let people know that this is happening or they'll look down on us. Or do you know what? There are so many like cultural influences there as well that it makes it like, if I do this, then would I bring shame on people? I don't know. I don't know whether you felt that, but I definitely also felt like if it was just me, maybe I wouldn't think twice, but I feel like I'm exposing like
failure.
Yeah, like on a sort of family level, which is just very vulnerable, and a lot of people wouldn't want to put that out there.
No, but then we don't always put our failures out there, or what we perceive to be failures.
What we perceive
is not
to be
a failure
failures,
at all, but we don't always put that out there enough. We live in a world of Instagram and social media now where we're not sharing the difficulties and the hard parts and the messy parts. So
yeah, I mean, we went deep straight away. I mean, we didn't even ease
Jess,
into it.
Give me a platform.
Don't be sorry. That's what we're here for. This is the stuff that no one told us, right? So we're saying it out loud. I want to get to a point that you can tell us about where there was a defining moment for you that you feel kind of changed the way that you lead. I know that sometimes as women, we can be really, really focused on ambition. We're doing all of that. And then when we get to the family side and we're starting a family, we can be really, really focused on that. I don't know if there was a time where you kind of felt like, something happened that just changed the way that you lead or changed the way that you wanted to show up.
Yeah, there is. And it wasn't a big thing. It was a passing comment in an office one day. So it wasn't a big moment or a life transition that changed me. And it was before I had kids.
Okay.
And I had just taken on a promotion in a big global organization leading a learning and development team. And I had an amazing manager at the time. And I often was justifying myself, maybe overcompensating. If I went into a meeting, I'd justify a decision I'd made before sharing the decision I'd made. And I didn't realize that I was doing it. And this maybe comes down a little bit to maybe feeling like I was an imposter in that role, or feeling like I was being judged because I was young and I was female. And I always held those stigmas, almost put those stigmas on myself, because I felt like the world was putting those on me too. And my boss said to me one day, Ruth, I don't know why you're doing it, but please stop justifying yourself when you come and talk to me about what the work you're doing. You deserve the seat at this table. Wow. You deserve to be in this role that you're doing. And when you do that, by the way, you're planting seeds of doubt in my mind that weren't even there. And it was that last sentence of, you just planted a seed of doubt in my mind that didn't exist before you did that. Yeah. And so I was overcompensating, and by doing that, making people doubt me, but they didn't doubt me beforehand. Yeah. And that was the moment, probably the first time in my life, that someone said, you were right where you need to be. Stop trying to justify that to everyone else.
Yeah, you deserve to be here.
Yeah. And do you know what? I took on his advice, and it did really change the way I lead teams. It changed the way I am socially. It changed my life. It really did. And he probably doesn't even know that. I should thank him for that and send him this podcast episode. And it did really, really change me. I still find myself doing it sometimes now. I still think that I am a 21-year-old, fresh into the workplace, young girl, and can sometimes still try and justify that. And, you know, my husband will say to me, Ruth, you're 40 now. Like, you're not a young one in the workplace anymore. Like,
says who?
Yeah. You know, like you're doing well. You're deserving everything that you're doing because you're working hard and you have the experience. So that was a big moment for me.
Well, what you're describing sounds, well, and you said it, like imposter syndrome, right?
Yeah.
And the fact that you're saying you still experience that, how do you actually like push past it? Because if it's like an ongoing thing, and although you've got this boldness now, and although you do things that maybe your 20-year-old self wouldn't have done, there's still that level of thing in the back of your mind that like, maybe I need to justify this. Should I be doing it like this way or whatever? How do you actually push through that to just do the things?
I think all of us, whether we're willing to admit it out loud or we're not going to admit it, but we will internally, I think all of us have imposter syndrome. It was at its absolute height for me each time I returned from maternity leave. I would go from changing, particularly with the twins, like 24 nappies a day, pureeing food, singing nursery rhymes, settling babies to sleep through the night. And then the following morning, I'd be standing on stage in front of 200 people at a conference, let's say, speaking. And I felt like, what am I doing here? Like, I feel so out of place here. Like, what's going on? Does everyone in this room know what I was doing last night? I felt like a complete imposter on that stage. And I think that in that critical moment when you are transitioning back, the thing that helps you get over that imposter syndrome is creating a rhythm, creating momentum, surrounding yourself with people who remind you that you do need that seat at that table and that you are doing great and that you can be both a good mother throughout the night and also a great speaker on stage the next morning. And you can be both of those things. And in fact, becoming a mother has only kind of strengthened my resilience, strengthened my grit, strengthened my ability back in the workplace, rather than dampened it, which is maybe where I was battling and thinking I'm such an imposter right now. So getting back into a rhythm, it's like getting back on a bike. Yeah. I rode a bike. I went back to the UK during last summer and I got back on a bike for the first time in years. And it's the same. You just get back on the bike and you start riding again. So yeah, that's how you get over it. Get back on it.
Get back on the bike. Well, with that, like every time you've returned to work and every time you've gone back into just whatever work you're doing after having the kids. Do you feel like there are any like personal values that you've kind of fought to protect since you've become a mother?
Yeah, my values since becoming a mother versus before becoming a mother are very different. I think that's probably true for lots of parents or people going through other life transitional events. Not everyone's a parent, but our values can change and probably do change over time. There's probably two values that are really strong for me, particularly right now. The first one is self-care. Now, whenever you hear the word self-care, you might think of like bubble baths and
first thing that came to my mind.
Okay. Or bike rides or Botox or whatever it is. But you might think of that line of self-care, but actually the self-care for me is boundaries.
100%.
Yeah, it's about, particularly since becoming a mother, learning to say no because my kids need me more than this needs me. And I've learned those mistakes, right? But maybe saying, no, I'm not going to do that meeting at 8 p.m. because I promised my kids that I would read the bedtime stories tonight. Yeah. Or it might not even be kids related. It might just be putting in boundaries to protect my own energy. Yeah. Because when my energy is protected, then I'm a better worker, a better leader, and a better mother as well. So self-care is, for me, boundaries. And then the other value that I fight hard to protect, I'm doing this for my own reputation, because I talk a lot about reputation, organizational reputation, individual reputation, but also for the legacy that I'm teaching my boys as well. So the second value is around integrity. Yeah. Integrity for me is about saying what you know is the right thing to say and saying what you mean. Doing what you know is the right thing to do and following through on your word as well. So having your kind of your mouth, your brain and your heart all in alignment with one another. And that's difficult, right? If I say to one of my kids, if you don't eat your vegetables, then you're not going to have any ice cream. And then I don't follow through with that. I do actually lose trust and credibility with my kids, right? My twins are only 5 years old, but next time I say that, they're not going to believe me, you know? And the same is true actually in work as well. When you can work really hard on having alignment, then that's where you build trust, that's where you build credibility, and that's where you become a more authentic version of yourself, I think. So those two, and I still fight hard on those two. I'm still not great at my self-care boundaries, and I still have to remind myself to follow through with my word, or to do the right thing if I see something happening. But they're very critical.
You've touched on something that resonates with me so deeply with the self-care, because you said it as boundaries, which I completely see, and I kind of see it as like showing up for myself. And in the workplace, this like difference of like when there is an injustice or when something crosses a value or a boundary for you, to be able to speak up on it. And like you said, like, no, I'm not working at 8 because I need to go and read the bedtime story or whatever. Come what may, whatever people might think of me, if they think I don't take the job seriously, if you know what I mean, if they want to, you know, promote someone else over me because I don't, whatever, but holding firm to the boundaries and showing up for yourself in that way. Because I think we get faced with those situations every single day in really, really small ways, and we get a choice to like show up for ourselves or to abandon ourselves. And that like whole thing of being a mother and abandoning yourself or choosing yourself, I feel like we're constantly making those decisions. So it really resonated with me when you said boundaries, because I feel like the boundaries go to a whole nother level now that you're a mother. You've got other people that you're responsible. Even if you wouldn't have shown up for yourself before, now it's like, no, but I've got to show up for my kids, you know, and I've got to be able to live with myself if I don't. Yeah. And that's not really something that I want to, you know, sacrifice.
No, you need to have even more boundaries in place. But one thing that really helped me with that, particularly in the workplace, was having much more of a focus on output versus input. And, you know, you'll hear that people will stay really late at work, or they'll put in extra hours than other people, or they talk more in meetings than someone else. That's their input. But really, what is your output? And if your output is driven by happiness, around productivity, around achieving your goals personally and professionally, then it doesn't really matter what the input is. You do that within your own boundaries, but it's the output that you produce that you should be measuring yourself on. Yeah. That's really helped me with boundaries.
Yeah, I love that. I'm going to keep that one.
Keep it. I'll give it to you.
I want to talk about some hard truths because I don't know, have you seen this online? It's been a few years now, but there's like a whole movement of trad wives.
Okay.
Have you heard about it?
A little bit.
So it's basically like traditional wives who basically don't work. They do everything at home and they absolutely love it. They live for it. Like it is their whole pride and joy. And the man that they're also with is like full-on provider. It's his absolute pride and joy. They have, some of them have YouTube channels where they're just like pushing out all of this trad wife content. And the amount of comments they get from other women completely tearing them down. Of like, how could you do this? It's against like feminism and everything we fought for and and like you're brainwashed. And then they're just like, no, this is this is what I want. I actually want this. Yeah. Like I love it. I don't want to do anything else. I feel like we're kind of in this place in, let's say, womanhood, sisterhood, femininity, whatever you want to call it, where you're kind of forced to pick a side. And there is this judgment if you are a woman that wants a career and also wants a fulfilling one, not just like a job to like pay the bills, but you actually want to be happy and fulfilled like in the things that you're saying. And you're not necessarily then at home all the time. And then there is judgment if you are at home all the time and then you're not going through a career and whatever. You are someone that kind of, you do both things. Yeah. How are you juggling all of this? And I say that to like, what's one thing that no one told you about having it all? Because some people would say that you have it all, right? So whether you define what all is, I don't know. But what's one thing that no one told you about being in this space where you're doing both things?
One thing no one ever told me is that it's not true. It's actually a lie. I don't think that anybody in this world has it all. Mm-hmm. But people do sometimes say to me, Ruth, like I follow your social media and I perceive you to be having it all. So I'm almost playing into this algorithm that's causing anxiety for other women unintentionally. And I will always be really honest about, well, actually behind the scenes, my kitchen is a total mess. My kids have not handed in their homework for the last 3 weeks. And my eldest is falling behind on spellings because I'm really busy with work at the moment. And then there's also the other side of it where I've fallen behind with my contacts. I haven't made it to the events that I wanted to make it to. I haven't earned any money this month because I've been fully focused on being over this side with my family. And sometimes it does feel like when you're trying to do both, sometimes I feel like I'm not doing either of them very well. And I look at these trad wives, I now learn the term, and I think, wow, I would love to be that type of mother that has it all together for her kids. And my kids would probably love that too. But then I look at these amazing women leading careers and leading businesses and think, how are they doing it? Like, surely they never see their children. And there is this pull, but there's also quite a lot of judgment. I think you've already said it. Like you feel judged whichever side you almost choose. Now that I think comes from society, historical, cultural in some ways, and these kind of systemic, unconscious, and I do think they're unconscious, prejudices that we've put, particularly to women. I'll give you an example. This month, I'm flying to the US for work. I'll be gone for a week, and I've told some people I'm going to Las Vegas. Wow, that's so exciting! But Ruth, how do you feel about being away from the kids for a whole week? Who's looking after the children? Like, it's going to be like, are they okay with it? Whereas if my husband was going to the US for a week or anywhere in the world, if he was traveling for a week for work, it would be, well, yeah, he's just providing for the family. And these double standards. Yeah. These double standards. They run deep, Jess.
They really do.
They do.
Can we talk about it? They really do.
They do. And I think we just need to talk more about it. We just need to be like, women can be ambitious and have careers and have children in the same way that for thousands of years, men have had jobs, had careers, and also had children. And yes, the dynamic maybe needs to shift within families and within the world and within society when you have two parents working.
Yeah.
It does need to shift. But we can do it. We can drive, we can vote, we can have our own bank accounts, and we can work, and we can also be mothers. We just need to put our hands up and be honest about it and be honest about how difficult it is.
And I think that there's a lot of bravery in going against what, I don't know, society or what people think is right. Because even in you traveling for work, even having a kind of role that requires you to travel, you would have to do some thinking around that as like, what will people think? Can I do this? Am I willing to like be okay with what people will think? You know, even with parents, I have to travel sometimes for work as well. And my mum will sometimes be like, oh, well, how long are you going to be gone? And what will they, yeah. And not because my husband isn't perfectly capable. It's just so ingrained in her way of thinking that it's like, oh, but my husband travels every other month for weeks and weeks and weeks at a time. And it's like, that's not even given a second thought, right? So when you say it, I'm like, yeah, the double standard is crazy. And it's not always from our partners, right? But it's also just from the wider group. And I also think this when it comes to self-care. If self-care for you is like going for a long weekend staycay, there will be people that are like, why are you going away without your children? Because now it's not work, it's rest. You know, and there is also that. And I've seen a whole movement of like mums. There's like a whole Facebook group, I think, of mums that they do like solo vacations, but it's like specifically mums going on solo vacations, and they're all like documenting it and sharing all the stuff. And some women are like, wow, I wish I could do that. And sounds amazing, but they're kind of just trapped. And I think a lot of it's just being trapped by conditioning.
Yeah, trapped by conditioning, trapped by judgment, but also trapped by fear of judgment.
Yes.
So what your mum said about you traveling, there's also probably another 100 people not saying it, but also thinking
totally
it.
True.
But the worst critic and the worst person holding you back from these staycays with the girls is you.
Yeah.
It's you, the boundaries, it's your fear of judgment, it's you not doing what you need. And that will change. It has to change the more we openly talk about that. My husband, I'm very lucky. He's very, very, very supportive of self-care that I need, boundaries that I put in place, work trips I need to take. He doesn't see it any different than what he might need. Mm. He understands that. He also understands that being with the children, particularly our boys, but being with the children full-time needs breaks too, because it's also a full-time job.
Yes,
and hats off to those women that are with their children full time, because I find it so exhausting.
Yeah, me too.
In a very different way to working. I gain more energy and find it actually more relaxing in moments where I'm facilitating a group of adults than facilitating my 3 children.
That is so interesting because it's so true. Yeah. But why is that, Ruth? Because I feel the same thing. I'm like, it is mentally, emotionally, physically. I just don't have a second to myself. And maybe it's that in the work environment, and if you are in a position of leadership, you are in control. You know what your output is going to be. You know what your input's going to be. You know the parameters. You have a time that you come in. You have a time that you go home. And like at home, it's just on all of the time.
Yep.
And I don't actually know why it feels so much more fulfilling and calm and whatever when you're not, like, it's weird, but it's true.
We need to be honest about that, though. We really,
I love hearing another woman say it, by the way, because I'm like...
We need to be honest about the fact that I quite often enjoy going to work more than I do a day with my kids. Mm. And that is harsh. And some people will turn off this podcast right now.
Be like, how dare she?
But I get a different type of fulfillment, a different type of energy, and a different type of satisfaction when I'm using my brain that I've trained for 40 years to work in a different way. I also have amazing, fulfilling days with my kids. We'll go out, we'll be feeding animals, they'll be learning something new, seeing the world through a 5-year-old or a 10-year-old's eyes. It's amazing.
Yeah.
But it's okay to say, actually, I really want to go to work this week. I really want to go to work every day. And then I really want to enjoy the moments with my kids as well. Not enough women say that because we feel that we're going to be judged.
Yeah. And I think not saying that breeds its own, I don't know, also impact on how we are with our kids, right? Because we could be frustrated with them or short with them, or just because we're feeling like we need a break, and then we don't feel like we can say that we need a break. So there's definitely that, but it's something that we need to talk about more. I think there is, like I said, judgment on both sides of the spectrum. And I think as women, the harshest critics are the women, if I'm being honest, right? No matter what it is you choose to do, there'll be women that'll be for you and there'll be women that'll be completely against it. And everyone is entitled to their opinion. And on top of that, everyone's entitled to make the decision for themselves. I think we just have to be able to respect everyone else's decisions and everyone else's choices, because that's the kind of mother that they end up, showing up. I had my 2 kids under 2, and then I opened a business.
Wow.
A hospitality business where I had a shop and I had to be in there 7 a.m. every morning. It sounds crazy, but part of it was escapism.
Yeah.
I only found that out in therapy, like afterwards. Part of that was escapism, but it felt good to have like an identity that was separate of this identity, because all of a sudden my whole world became this. And then it was kind of a thread of who I used to be and who I could be and possibilities and opportunities. And it was like, this feels great. I still am me somewhere under there. And I loved that. So I really was passionate about it. And I think there is a level of like escapism when we can throw ourselves into our work, and it kind of is a way to switch off, which sounds weird.
Yeah.
And then you come home and you're on, because some people don't see it as being on, but you're on at home. And sometimes work is switching off and throwing your mind into something else.
Yeah, you are on.
You are on.
You are on. We just did 2 months of the school summer break, right? I was on 7 days a week, sometimes 24 hours a day. And it's all the mummy. It almost becomes white noise.
Yeah.
And it's not until I had a break this week for one day, and I sat in the hair salon, and I was like, wow, I can't hear anything. I'm not looking behind my shoulder, that nothing's broken. And it was amazing. You don't realize how much you're on until you get off.
Yeah. And it's the overstimulation for me.
Yeah.
I've noticed how overstimulated I get. And sometimes you can judge yourself for that. You can be like, why does being around my kids make me feel overstimulated? And maybe it is because I'm also trying to chase a career. And then maybe I shouldn't be. And then maybe I should just be more home, and then I wouldn't be overstimulated. You know what I mean?
And then you're stuck
in this cycle. And then you're stuck in that cycle. Oh, poor us. But do you feel like there's anything that you had to unlearn about what being a good mother meant in order to, also be a good leader?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I had to unlearn that I had to be good. Or that I had to be perfect. I had to unlearn that perfect meant good.
Yeah.
Imperfect, messy, also means good. And I did have to unlearn that in the hard way. And I do believe that social media and does some amazing stuff for people, opening up conversations, right? This podcast will probably be posted on social media, right? Gives us access to so much, but also it can make us feel that we're not good in the moment. I'm not being a great leader, or let's actually start at home. My kids are not achieving the right grades, or they're fighting with one another, or the house is a mess, and therefore I'm not a good mum. Yeah. Or my team are not hitting their targets, or there's some conflict going on over here, and therefore I'm not a good leader. And the idea that everything being perfect is good is not true. You can still be good, and you can be great and still have failures. And in fact, I would encourage those failures more, because when you're learning, that's what's good. When you think you're perfect, that's when it's not good. And that is a real unlearning journey you need to go on. Yeah.
It's so interesting when you say that. I think about I visualize like spinning lots of plates, right? Because obviously we do. And we do a lot of the mental labor as well. Like we know what day this person has to wear these socks and what day that is needed for packed lunch. And there's a parent-teacher meeting this, and then there's a play that we need to go to this. And then at work, we've got this important meeting. We need to prep for that facilitation. And there's so much that we're on all the time. And it is like balancing a lot of plates. And kind of going back to the self-care part, someone once said to me, because I said, I'm balancing so many plates. And someone once said to me, you're going to have to let go of some. And I'm like, what? No, because then they'll smash, like they'll fall to ground and they'll smash. And they were like, it's either that they smash or you smash. And I was like, oh, mind blown.
Wow.
I was like, mind
Yeah.
blown. It's actually changed me since I heard that, because I was like, that is so true. And I think a lot of times as mothers, as women, we would rather we smash, because we have to uphold the image that like everything, I've got it. It's under control. Everyone's okay. Everything's going to keep moving. No one has been disappointed. And we would disappoint ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
That will be at the expense of us, which is crazy to think about. But when they said that, I was like, oh, that's what I've been doing. And yeah, this whole unlearning and relearning to actually prioritize self-care, and actually the impact that it has on how you show up as a leader, as a mother, is like, yeah, it's life-changing stuff.
Yeah. Your bucket doesn't get any bigger. Your ability to juggle becomes stronger. You become better at juggling, but the amount that you can have and the capacity of plates remains the same. So yeah, I love that analogy so much.
Right? I mean, you can borrow it.
Smash some plates, or you will smash.
Smash some plates, ladies. Yeah, you're gonna have to at some point.
Love it.
Yeah, it's a lot of deep stuff. What would you say is the cost of ambition that no one told you about?
Loneliness.
Okay.
That might sound crazy, really, because I'm so busy. My calendar's packed. I can't keep to all my social appointments with friends, with networks. But then you can still feel lonely. And I think that's because that probably goes back to what we were talking about feeling judged. Like, I'm not a trad wife. I'm also not a Sheryl Sandberg. So who am I and where do I fit? And you can be so busy all day, but never really feel like you've deeply connected on anything. And that can feel lonely. And also, I've experienced some cost of ambition, let's say, about 8 years ago. No, about 4 years ago. No, because I had definitely had all 3 kids. About 4 years ago, I was asked to go and host a conference in New York and be the kind of host for the whole day, be the MC. It was a door-opening, career-defining moment for me, right? As it would be for many others. And I thought it was going to open up new networks for me. And I genuinely believed it was a really good career move for me. But it did mean leaving my children. The youngest were both 1 and the eldest was 5. So it did mean leaving them at home for a week. And it also meant missing my friend's wedding. And I chose the New York option and I missed my friend's wedding. And actually, in hindsight, that was probably not the best decision. But hindsight is a wonderful thing. Hindsight helps us grow and helps us learn and helps us make better decisions for the future. But there was a cost. There was a cost. By opening one door, I very nearly closed another.
Yeah.
And the reality is that you can't keep both doors open all the time. We're full of these analogies today, Jess.
I'm here for it. I'm just like,
I don't know where they're coming from. Plates, doors. But it was a tough decision. I thought it was the right one at the time. It probably wasn't the right one at the time. And you learn from it. But there is always, there is trade-offs.
Yeah.
There is always a cost behind something, even more so once I became a mother. Yeah. Because the cost is also those kids.
Yeah.
But also by not chasing ambition, I'm not showing my kids what women can do and what women will do when they are older. And I'm not teaching them what their mother's doing and her ambition. And I'm not teaching ambition in them as well. In fact, I don't know whether my phone's been listening to me recently, but I saw an article pop up just last night from Harvard Business Review that said children of mothers who work and run their own businesses are 30% more likely to run their own businesses and succeed far greater in life because they watch it, they have it role modeled.
Yeah, I love that.
So there are costs to family and to friends. There are also costs from not doing it. And you have to remind yourself. You have to remind yourself of that.
Absolutely. Yeah, that cost of not doing it is something that we probably need to sit with for a little bit and figure out yeah, which burden is heavier, I guess. But I wanted to just touch on your cultural background and how you feel that your cultural background has influenced the way that you balance motherhood and ambition.
So I said at the beginning, I'm from was born in a really, really small city in North Wales. It's a beautiful place, but ambition and people relocating abroad and women particularly running businesses, it's not really something I was surrounded by. My parents worked very hard. My dad worked really long shifts. My mum worked nights so that she could be there for us kids during the day. Talk about cost.
Yeah.
I don't know when she slept. And when they divorced, I was mid-teens, about 13 at the time. So I just want to paint the picture. I was a very stroppy, grumpy teenage girl, right? Like some are. When they divorced, I watched my mum. Oh, I feel emotional.
Take your time.
I watched her silently become a single mother and retrain in a completely new career. She didn't call it ambition. She didn't call it any of those things. But it was like survival, it was determination, it was grit. But it was ambition. And I think that's that background, growing up, watching my parents work really hard, watching my mum career pivot through such a life transitional event with 3 young children.
Yeah.
I was the eldest, the stroppy teenager. But watching her do that, and we've never really spoken about it, but watching her do that, it has massively influenced the ambition, right? It has probably massively influenced the ambition within me to do that for my kids as well.
Yeah.
And if you can retrain your life in that messy middle, if my mum can do that, then, and she was from also a small town in North Wales, then I can do that too. So I think that background of ambition wasn't something in the place I grew up that women strived for. Yeah. Generally, women worked in care roles or they didn't work at all. But watching my mum do that is probably what inspired me.
It's like really, it's really beautiful to hear you talk about it, and also like adding the context of like just how much our past influences how we show up now. Because a lot of people would probably think, yeah, like my culture doesn't impact me that much because I do what I want to do, and you know, like we have this like empowerment thing going on, but actually it's the really subtle things about how we show up and what we decide to not compromise on, and you know, just the determination, the grit we have, and where that actually comes from. And it's really beautiful to like hear how that is like mirrored through in your story as well. Yeah,
I don't think I ever really realised where it came from. I don't think I did until just now, so hence the emotion.
Yeah, but it's beautiful. And I mean, now it's, I don't know, but it's almost like you that emotion has a home. You understand where it comes from, and you can decide where you want to take it. You know what I mean? Yeah. Again, another thing I deeply resonate with, my mum was the sole breadwinner. So really, really interestingly, because my dad had a stroke when I was like 2. And he like couldn't work at all, was like paralyzed on one side. So my mum was his full-time carer and the breadwinner. So she was working all of the time. Like, so same you said, like she was working all of the time. And when she wasn't working, she was taking care of him. And I grew up seeing that, again, survival. Yeah. It was just nothing but survival. There wasn't anything about ambition. What do you enjoy doing? You know, what would you want to do as a career? Like, that's not a conversation to have. And I think from that, we don't always do what we want to do, but we do what we have to do. Mm-hmm. And I think I just get into, you know, whether I have to do this or that or whatever, I have to do it because I want to get this, and I can just have that level of resilience and determination. And I choose to take it as a really positive lesson that actually I can pretty much do anything. I've seen this, I've been party to it, and I'm, you know, I take the gold from it that, you know, I can, but also how can I do justice to it in that I can also decide to live a bigger life.
Yeah.
And to take that resilience and that grit and do it in pursuit of something that really lights me on fire, you know?
So maybe we are all unconsciously where we are because we've learned things from our cultural backgrounds and our upbringings, but we didn't even realize.
Yeah.
Didn't even realize that's how it shaped us. A lot of people think it's your education or the letters beyond your name or the degree that you got, but actually that inner ambition came from a messy middle life teenager years for me. So
yeah.
Thanks for sharing that, Jess.
Yeah, I mean, you shared yours. I felt like I needed to let you know that this is a safe space, and thank you for sharing it, because again, it's something that will resonate with so many people and hopefully get them to do some like introspective work as well of what has been driving them. But I want to just touch on you coming over to the GCC and how that has like impacted you as a mother. How does your motherhood look since you've been in this part of the world?
We arrived here. Well, my husband, he's a phenomenal designer and leads design teams in the tech space. So he'd been working in this region and with a big player in this region for about 4 years. But moving and relocating here was not easy. I had a 20-year career and network in the UK, 3 children, a house, and also a great social network where we lived. So the thought of giving all of that up, selling everything you've ever owned, packing into some suitcases and traveling across the world where you know nobody felt very daunting, right? But the moment I realized it was the right move was when my kids started school here on day 1 at the school gates. A few mothers came up to me and said, "You're a new face here." I was like, "Yeah, I'm new." And they didn't ask me like, "Where are your kids? What school year are they in? Where do you live?" or anything like that. A lot of the first questions I got were, "Ruth, what do you do? And how can I help you thrive here?"
Yeah.
And I was like, wow.
Who
No
are
one
these women?
ever asked me that on the school gates back in England. Like, this is amazing. And so here I felt so welcomed to both be a mother and be an ambitious business leader. And that's when I felt like, yeah, this might be home.
Yeah.
And it has really influenced and shaped who I am as a mother. I think this region of the world recognizes female talent, and the percentage of business owners here in this region, I think it's 42% of SMEs are now being started up by women. It's huge to see the number growing. While it's still small, 10% of business owners are women, but 42% of these SMEs are women. Like, it's amazing to see. We're celebrated as women, we are encouraged, and we are supported. And there is still the recognition that women carry a lot of the mental load, whether it's with the kids, the home, the school, like you've already said. But there is so much more support out here. It's encouraged to use a school transport system, to have help in the home, to get deliveries within 10 minutes of anything that you might need. This part of the world is built on a service industry of everybody helping one another to enable one another to thrive. And that is both beautiful and also enabling as a mother for you to follow your ambitions, but also to be there for your children. And I felt so torn when I was in the UK. I was dropping plates all the time, Jess, and not always by choice.
Yeah.
But here I can choose which plates to drop.
Yeah.
And I can also choose which help to ask for with less fear of judgment. So it's really shaped how I mother and how I work.
It's incredible, isn't it? Because before you come here, well, I don't know about you, before I came here, when I said I'm moving to this part of the world, a lot of people are like, "Oh my gosh, you're not going to be free. You're not going to have these freedoms. You're not going to be able to do this. You won't be able to do that." And it's obviously a lot of like just misconceptions that people have about this part of the world, and also just blanket, beliefs and statements that don't apply to everywhere. And I was even shocked when I came here to just how free I am. I was like, oh my God, I've never been more free in my life, and safer. And just had more opportunity because everyone here is like hustling, and not at the expense of their health, but like trying to make something of themselves. It's a really exciting part of the world to be in. So I love that that's been your experience, because I think for mothers it is quite liberating, actually.
Yeah, I'm the healthiest, freest, and most honest version of myself I've ever been in my whole life.
That's really beautiful, by the way. My God.
Yeah.
Where's the tissue? No, that's really, really beautiful. I wonder whether you've had any mentors that have been meaningful in your journey, that have helped you, whilst you're also going on this journey of balancing ambition and motherhood. Has there been anyone that you feel that has been a mentor for you?
Yeah, a lot of fellow mothers and fellow women are my unofficial mentors. They, we do tend to boost each other up and go on, girl, and you're on fire, or you look great, or you've done that for me over LinkedIn before as well, Jess.
You're killing it, love it.
Yeah, so they're the kind of unofficial cheerleaders. They didn't even know that you needed that in that moment. It might have been one of those moments of imposter syndrome and self-doubt after being up all night with the kids not sleeping, or am I able to do this? And just a little message over WhatsApp or over social media from someone saying, you look great, or you're doing amazing, or I was really inspired by watching that by you. The cheerleaders have also helped to kind of mentor me. But the person that's been the most consistent mentor for me is a bloke. He's a guy, sorry.
so British of you.
So British, he's a bloke. He's a man. He is from a very, very different cultural background to me. He doesn't live in this region of the world, and has a very different life to me. But although we've had very similar careers and we both have very similar passions in the work life. But like me, on his second child, it turned out to be a surprise set of twins. Ooh. So we've had some similar journeys in that respect. But there's not probably a day that goes by where I don't message him or he doesn't message me, where I will say to him, I've been asked to go and speak on this stage, or to facilitate this group, or to put a proposal together for this client. Can I do it? And he, every single time, is, yes, Ruth, you can do this. Yes, Ruth, you know what you're doing. Yes, Ruth, what's the worst that's going to happen if you say no? And he has been that consistent mentor for me for the last 10 years, I'd probably say. So sometimes mentors, all the time mentors for me, they've been these unofficial WhatsApp voice notes.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be a formal sit down, let's have a mentoring session. So my advice for people who are looking for mentors is sometimes they're right in front of you. Yeah, sometimes they're in your WhatsApp list. Sometimes you just need to be the one that messages them first to ask, can I do this?
Yeah. You're on this journey of becoming, literally. What does becoming her look like for you moving forward?
I think I just kind of alluded to this, but becoming her has becoming my true self, not the person or the woman that I thought I was supposed to be, but just becoming authentic.
That makes perfect sense. Okay, so tell us lastly about the work that you're doing now, who it's for, the mission behind it.
So I said at the beginning, I care really deeply about people's happiness, and particularly at work. So I do a lot of work with organizations around their employee experience. So whether that's around what's their onboarding look like, what is their offboarding look like, what is their management capabilities, leadership practices, what's the well-being like there, what contribution are you making to society, what does that experience look like for your people when they're working with you? And I facilitate groups, I coach individuals and coach groups as well. And I also do a lot of work around kind of reputation management and helping organizations understand their own reputation and the reputation of the people that they're bringing into their business as well. So
It's amazing work. Okay, so if there are women listening that want to have more of you in their life, where do they find you? How can they connect with you?
Oh, I would love that. I love connecting with people. I particularly love connecting and supporting women because, as you know, I'm very raw and honest and think we need to be doing that more to support other women. So, but also I'm open to men. I remember my best mentor in life is a man, and I love working with men too. So I'm Ruth Dance or Dance, depending on how you pronounce
If you're northern.
And the best place would probably be LinkedIn. I share a lot of my story, my journey, my thoughts on there, and I'm on there all the time. So LinkedIn is the best place to find me. Okay. And there's also not many Ruth Dances on LinkedIn, so I'm easy to find.
Very true. Very true. Okay, we're just going to close with a quick fire rapid sentence. So just finish the sentence, okay? So first sentence is, I lead best when I stop trying to X and start trusting Y.
I lead best when I stop trying to be perfect and I start trusting my gut.
I love that. My boldest move I ever made as a mother and a leader was...
My boldest move I ever made as a leader and a mother was relocating 3,000 miles across the world with no backup plan.
True. Yes. Power to me looks like...
Power to me looks like being vulnerable enough to be yourself, but open enough to continuously grow.
Yeah, I love that. And last one, success used to mean X and now it means Y.
Success used to mean for me title and recognition. Now success means to me inner peace and alignment.
Thank you so much for taking your time to be on here. It's been a beautiful conversation. Yeah. And I feel like we've connected even more because we're like the same person. But I really appreciate you taking the time to be on here. Thank you for sharing your story, your wisdom. And I really, I'm sure that it's going to help a lot of women that are listening and those coming into leadership for the first time. So thank you.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you everyone for watching and see you next time.